Hi, welcome to Vision Classes. It's a classes for IGCSE and A-level student. So today we have to discuss the mathematics syllabus for exam 28, 29 and 30. Those who are going to give the exams in 28, 29 and 30. So this is for extended student we are gonna discuss. All right, core syllabus already discussed. I have discussed in one of my previous video. All right, so you can go there and watch there for just a core student. All right, and this is for extended student. All right, so see, for every other extended student, keep in mind that you have to firstly go through all the syllabus, then nextly once you're done with, let's say, topic, then you have to go through the past year paper. Yeah, so that's it, and that is how you have to prepare each and every other topic. And if you prepare like this, trust me, you will get a star. Okay, and target a star maximum as possible. So then here you have 9 topics are there. You can see this one, content overview. So here, number, algebra, graphs, coordinate geometry, mensuration, trigonometry, transformation and vector, probability, statistic. Okay, so those who want to take extended math, they will be targeting the A star to A. And for core student, actually you will get C is a max and minimum it's a G. Yeah, so nextly we have for core student, you have to give the paper 2 non-calculator and paper 4 calculator paper. Okay, core already I have explained that you have to give the paper 1 and paper 3 and extended paper 2 and paper 4. Yeah, so before we jump onto the topical discussion, you have these 9 topics are there. Yeah, so these all 9 topics we have covered in our website. Visit visionigcsc.com, and here if you look at this one, mathematics, if you click here you will get all the notes. Fine, and this is past year paper. Here all the past year papers we have organized. Yeah, and this mathematics actually you will get for $20. All the notes and worksheets are available. We have covered or added all the interactive things, panels. Fine. So for example, circle theorem. So we have included all the circle theorem with interaction, how to analyze them, okay, understand them and things like that. Okay, so yeah, and even organized core and extended the topics separately, so that you will get the better idea which are the topics for core. Extended, anyway you have to prepare all the topics, so there is no point in just separating them. Yeah, then yeah, just straight away extended subject content. First one is number system. In the number system you have a types of number, all types of number, then all set notations are there. Here for extended student it's extensively covered. Then power and root, square root, cube root, and so on and so forth. Fraction, decimal, percentage. So these part actually you have to understand recurring decimal and all. Fine, all the operations, their rule. Okay, so here you have to learn a lot. Yeah, so this part is we have to understand extensively. Then nextly order, then for operation, or even in simple BIDMOS rule, then indices. Okay, so this indices topic here, indices 1 means applying the indices for numbers. Okay, square root of 16, it's a 4. Yeah, so then nextly standard forms, then estimation, limit of accuracy, ratio and proportion. Then nextly rate, yeah, hourly, exchange rate, flow rate, fuel consumption, then pressure, density, population density, these type of rate questions are there. All right, then percentage. Here you have to understand the simple interest, compound interest, then application based questions are there. All right, then nextly deposit, discount, earning, percentage earning, so on and so forth. Yeah, then applying or use the calculator to calculate the different complex example or questions. Fine, then time, money, then exponential growth and decay. This is very important even because you will get the questions on depreciation, population change. Yeah, then nextly surd, rationalization of surds. All right, then second topic we have, it's a algebra and graph. So in the algebra and graph, introduction to the algebra, algebraic manipulation, expansion of bracket, then factorization of quadratic equation. All right, then algebraic fractions, their addition, subtraction, multiplication, division parts are there, simplification of algebraic expression using factorization. All right, then indices too. Here the indices, applying all the indices rule for the algebra. Okay, equation, construction of expression, then formula, linear equation, yeah, simultaneous linear equation, simultaneous linear and non-linear equations, then changing the subject of the formula. All right, inequalities, solving the inequality part, yeah, and then here the linear inequality representation on the graph also part are there here. All right, so linear program is not part of the syllabus from here on. All right, then sequence, nth sequence, you have to understand the linear, quadratic, cubic, exponential sequence part. You have to go through the all this sequence type, fine. And there example, proportion. Here in the extended student, you have to go through the direct and inverse proportion for linear, square, square root, cube, cube root, fine. All the in-depth discussions are there. All right, and this all having also graphs are there, graphs in practical situation, then graphs of a function. Yeah, so this part they are making every year little bit of interesting or little bit of complex for the student, challenging for the student. Then nextly, sketching the curves, linear, quadratic, cubic, reciprocal, exponential. Then nextly, differentiation, yeah, then differentiation for gradient, stationary point, discriminate between the maxima, minima by method, any method actually we have to apply. All right, then nextly, functions, function, domain, range, then inverse function, yeah, so composite functions as well. Nextly, yeah, these are the 13 topics are there. Now while discussing all this algebra topic, you will came across many graphs, and in the graph, if you look at any book, any Cambridge book, they haven't covered the graphs that much for or explained that much for the students. So better visit visionigcse.com. there you will get the thousands of graphs, I would say. Fine. Why? Because we have added many of the interactive panels for the student, so that will help the student or enhance understanding about the algebra. Then nextly, coordinate geometry. Here you have to understand the drawing the linear graphs, coordinates, gradient, midpoint, then equation of a line y is equal to mx plus c, parallel line, perpendicular line, their equation, how to find out the equation. Yeah, so the equations in the form of ax plus b, y is equal to c, y is equal to mx plus c, x is equal to k. All these parts are covered. All right, then nextly, the geometry. You have many simple topics are there, and you have been learning this simple topic, and here they have clubbed all these things. For example, point, line, parallel line, perpendicular line, acute, obtuse, angles, interior, exterior angles, the congruency concepts are there, types of triangles, quadrilateral, yeah, then the polygons. What does mean by polygon? Interior angle of a polygon, number of sides of the polygon. You have a different formulas are there. Then shapes, solid shapes are there, so you have to understand these basic terms and terminologies for all. Then circle concepts are there, yeah. Then nextly, construction. In the construction, actually you have to construct the midpoint of a line, triangle, yeah, then use the or even draw the nates of the cuboid, prism, yeah. Then nextly, scale drawing. Along with that scale drawing, actually you have a bearing. Then similarity concepts are there, symmetry. Okay, so all these concepts actually even we have covered on our website as well, that will help you. Fine. Then angles, then circle theorem. Okay, circle theorem, if you look at the core and extended, actually they have covered. For extended student, you have to understand all the types of circle theorem. And on our website, actually, let me show you here. If you go to the geometry part and the circle theorem, here you will be having one interactive panel. You can see Vision IGCSE Circle Theorem Explorer. All the circle theorems we have covered here. Even if you drag any point, you will get the better understanding about the what's the angle at the center, angle at the circumference. Similarly, the cyclic quadrilateral. What's the cyclic quadrilateral? Okay, again, you can drag any point and you can understand these points. All right, so that is how means we have built this website so that student will get the better idea. Circle theorem 2 as well. it's a part of extended curriculum or content. Fine. Then nextly, mensuration. Mensuration again for extended student, lot of topics are there. Okay, what's different types of units, then area, perimeter, circle concepts are there, sector, reverse type of questions are there, then area, volume part, the cuboid, prism, cylinder, sphere. Then nextly, compound shapes, parts of shapes, okay, two or more shapes clubbed together and forms the compound shapes. Okay, there the total surface area, volume, you have to figure it out. Then trigonometry, basic Pythagoras theorem, right angle triangle to find out the side and to find out the angle. Then nextly, now since last 2-3 years they have been concentrating on the trigonometric values of sine, cos and tan graphs. You must know, you have to understand them as well. Then trigonometric identities, non-right angle triangle concepts are there, sine rule, cosine rule, and the area of triangle using for non-right angle triangle using sine rule 1/2 AB sine C. Then Pythagoras theorem and trigonometry in 3D. You have to understand different examples are there. Again, for this for 3D trigonometry, in any of the book actually, or none of the book actually, they have covered too many examples, or they have just explained the 2-3 examples, done, that's it. But you have to understand different types of questions they have been asking. So those type of questions or different types of questions we have covered on our website as well, so you can access there as well. All right, then nextly, transformation, vectors in 2 dimension, then magnitude of vector geometry. This topic, mark my word, it's an important one because they have been making little difficult every year. So if you understand this vector geometry very well, so it will help you to fetch the A star very easily. Yeah. Then probability, introduction to the probability, relative and expected frequencies, frequency of combined event, sample space, Venn diagram, tree diagram part are there. Combined, it's a conditional probability using Venn diagram, tree diagrams and tables. Then statistic, last one, statistical, classifying or tabulate the statistical data, interpretation, yeah, table, graph, statistical measure, then mean, mode, median, quartile, range, interquartile. Fine. Group the data, ungroup the data. Then you have to draw and interpret the pie chart, bar charts, pictograms, stem and leaf diagram, simple frequency distribution. Then scatter diagrams, important one again. Then cumulative frequency diagrams and histogram. That's it. So those are the topics that you have to go through. Yeah, fine. I hope you understood this part. And as I said earlier, you have to go through the firstly topic, then the each subtopics, then just check out the past year paper questions on those part. Fine. And we have covered in our website as well, in the worksheet actually we have covered many past year papers, and that's gonna help you as well. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you. Enjoy the learning.